You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
These aren't all of them, Ramsey. Nobody does that to me. Nobody.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
And welcome yet again to Moviesucktastic. Thank you everyone for joining us. Tonight we are going to be reviewing the film Runaway. Tom Selleck, written and directed by Michael Crichton. And Scott needs to unmute himself.
What?
Thank you. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
It's okay. I forgot I was muted because I couldn't hear anything for the opening scene credits. So
Again? Oh, Christ almighty.
But never mind that. We're into episode
128. You actually
128.
Don't need to hear anything on this side anymore. When I saw your head wasn't bopping to at least the opening music for our show, I was like, oh shit, he must not be able to hear anything. But that's okay. I'll make sure that's squared away when we do Strangers.
Okay.
But, actually, let me get us up on the screen. I just have the movie so far.
What?
There, let's move you there. Let's move me here.
The movie's backdrop.
There we are.
Everybody's here to see us. Thank you very much.
And Tom Selleck's mustache, of course.
And the mustache, yes.
Mustache Man. You think Crichton had a thing for the Mustache Man?
Well, that's not the Mustache Man.
No,
Mustache
I know,
Man.
but no, well, I know that, but he was in Looker, which was another Crichton film, and didn't we do a thing when we reviewed Looker that he initially wanted Tom Selleck for the role, but ended up with that other guy, and he was just referred to as the Mustache Man?
I have to get to the Looker lab.
The Looker Lab.
She's a looker!
When did Crichton become the authority on things sci-fi and futuristic?
Oh, that's
The man doesn't know shit about the computers at the very least.
Thank you. That's the first and major thing I want to touch on. I've always heard how Crichton was this great science fiction, realistic science fiction writer, and I've never read much of his stuff really. I don't think I've ever read anything of his stuff. I read one, The Terminal Man, one of his early books, and didn't like it. And every film based on something of his, and every film directed by him is bad.
Yeah.
And I'm including Jurassic Park on this, people, so shut up.
But that was just written.
And what?
Jurassic Park was just... He didn't write Jurassic Park. It was just based on his book.
Right, but I'm saying all of the film, any Michael Crichton film. So I'm folding that into that.
And I think when you challenge this, to me, and at least for me, his best film, or any of his books made to film, I think is Jurassic Park.
Well, it's definitely the most successful one. So, but is that because of the story, or is that because of the massive special effects, which were groundbreaking? That's the word. For the time, I believe it's the latter, and the former people tend to gloss over. There's nothing special about the screenplay, story, what have you, for the first Jurassic Park. Every film of his sucks, and every film just seems to scream, I think I know more than I actually do about science. And this is from somebody who doesn't know a lot about science. I know nothing about robotics. Right. And from someone who's supposed to be, on cutting edge of writing about futuristic technology or what have you, Runaway is not what I would consider Well, I mean, you want to run through the basic premise of the film?
Sure. The basic premise is Tom Selleck. He used to be a beat cop, but
Ramsey.
He used to be a beat cop, but decided he was going to take a robotics class. And as he so eloquently says, I knew more than everyone else, so I decided to go into it. It's like, really? You knew more than everybody else?
Now he stopped. He
it's electrical engineering and robotics. You didn't know more than everyone else. You didn't.
He left the force because a partner of his got killed because he suffers from vertigo, which does not mean a fear of heights. So right there, okay, Mr. Medical Terminology, the guy who made Coma, you're fucking batting 1,000 here. Vertigo is dizziness.
But in defense, Tom Selleck's character does say he's afraid of heights a lot through the film.
Right, but he does say it's because of vertigo. Now, in his defense, I will say that the movie Vertigo is about a cop who's afraid of heights. So, in cop speak, that's allowed.
Which I just ironically saw a couple of weeks ago.
What a horrible person he is in that film. That's one of my favorite Hitchcock films because he going off on a side note here, he takes Peter blah blah blah. My brain is screaming.
Jimmy Stewart.
Thank you, Jimmy Stewart. Okay. He takes Jimmy Stewart, everyone's most lovable actor, and makes him the most despicable, lousy ass person ever.
Yeah,
he spends half the film.
I'm gonna smack you in the face now. Yeah. you dumb bitch.
I love that movie for that reason alone.
No, I never saw it until 2 weeks ago. I've always made it a point. It's one of these films. I need to see it. I know I should see it. It was on cable, and I just happened to catch it that way. But over Thanksgiving break. But yeah, no, great film. Great film. Unlike Runaway.
He destroys every woman he touches.
Yeah, I'm gonna ruin you. You're gonna like it too.
But so he says, okay, I stopped being a beat cop because I couldn't go into a high rise. So what does he do now? Is he goes out and he still does stuff that involves high rises and all these other high things. There's high things everywhere, but he's doing it. He's still a cop, and he's still going out on the road, and he's still doing things, that involve heights. So his rationale makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, the only thing is he's dealing with robots, which, for the most part, are dangerous. It's not like he goes in there and he's not wrestling down dangerous robots. It's still dangerous.
It's not like it's not like he's avoiding. It's like he took a desk job. So no, I still risk my life every day. And I'm still going out in public in places where there are tall buildings. Whatever. The first job, he's on a helicopter.
Right.
The first job, he's on a helicopter. And he's like, oh, well, I have a problem with heights. So then why are you in a fucking helicopter?
Was that the easiest way to get there? I mean, couldn't drive by car? I mean, how far is this fucking place? Now, how out of your jurisdiction does it have to be? It's like, I'm not going. It's 50 miles away, but you have to go. Okay, I'll go.
Now, why did he go? He went. Now, what's his job? His job, apparently in the future, there are so many robots that police departments will have a whole division for grabbing runaway or rogue or erratic.
Sure,
robots,
unstable robotics.
Stable, so that are risking harming other people. So now they don't do that now.
No,
they don't. I mean, and the first time we see them, they go out to grab a harvesting. They go out to a farm, a field, and they have these robots that are little robots that are crawling around the ground, delicately grabbing banana slugs off the leaves of the crops with these huge metal pincers, and then delicately dropping them into these grinders below them.
Which, by the way, I mean, I'm not an advocate or anything, but they fucking killed that banana slug or caterpillar, whatever the fuck it was.
All right.
Dead.
I would like to posit that it is cheaper to hire low-wage illegal immigrants than it is to purchase and maintain banana slug-grabbing robots. And if you are designing these robots, why wouldn't you just design the hand that have the grinders on it? You've already eliminated a step. Why does it have to grab it and then drop it into things? Just have the little grinders on it.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point.
But
Moving on, though.
My genius aside. But all throughout the film, all they do is, except for the scenes with Gene Simmons, all they do is go to these locations where robots are going crazy, and I have to ask one question. How in the future, where robots are, they have robots as servants, doing heavy lifting, doing
drivers,
doing everything,
babysitting.
Drivers.
I mean, in no way does this future look convenient at all.
Not even that, but here's my main question. How come someone has not invented a decent kill switch? There's one example where they go to the construction site because there's this loading machine that's picking up giant slabs of what have you and dropping them off the side of the construction site, off the side of the building. Tom Selleck can't go up because, of course, he has vertigo. But so if I build a machine that crushes garbage, I have to put a cutoff switch, an idiot switch. You have to make things idiot-proof, OSHA standards, so you can't accidentally kill yourself. But we have a robot that flings like 500-pound objects randomly about, and there's no cutoff switch for this thing. There's no, oh, you know what? That thing might kill Bob. Let me hit the switch. No, you're fucked.
Yeah, let's bring it onto the job site, and we'll see what happens.
There's even a sign on site that says, "Warning: robots are not operated by humans," or something of that nature. I forget the exact phrase. It said, "Warning: this robot might kill you because we are not in control of it." But we have to make sure that the elevator has a kill switch in case you get stuck in it. Other than the movie challenge, there was one other film that I kept thinking of, other than your movie challenge, and that's Rocky IV, because of that one scene in the film where Stallone buys that robot that does everything for them, and Rocky IV, ironically enough, came out the same year as this movie. Or a few months before, I should say. And that's all I kept thinking about, was all these robot servants is Rocky IV. And I'm like, I can't challenge Scott to Rocky IV. I can't. No, you really can't.
No, I can't. It's a sequel, and to be honest, I kind of like the Rocky films. So, in like a weird, kind of way. Especially the fourth one. I like the fourth one for some reason. Which one's the fourth one? Ivan Drago, the Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, I defended 5 to a lot of people. I actually thought 5 was a decent Rocky.
Why?
Shut up! You're the one of the people I defended it to.
Probably.
Yes, you're the one of the people I said, "Hey, I didn't think that was that bad of a movie."
I didn't hate 5, but what I didn't like personally, and it's got nothing to really do with the plot of the film, but the whole film is like, I can't go into the ring, I might die. But they're like offering you millions of dollars to fight this kid. I can't do it. And then at the end, he has a street brawl that's way worse than just getting in the ring with him.
I like the film just because the whole film was, all right, you know what? He's a punch drunk idiot who's got severe brain damage, and he doesn't make the best decisions. That's all wrapped up. I didn't hear no bell. I mean,
yeah, like
I can't do the Rocky voice.
I didn't hear no bell. It's like fucking putting his brother-in-law in charge of all of his money. It's like, what are you, a fucking... Yeah, you are a moron.
See? There you go. That underlines everything. I'm a boxer.
Exactly. That's how he ended up in that problem in Rocky V with no money back in fucking Brooklyn. Go back to the first
exactly.
movie.
You're giving millions of dollars to a person that gets pummeled in the head on a regular basis. He's not going to hang on to that money. The basketball players will hang on to the money. The boxer, no.
No.
Anyway, back to robots.
Back to robots. So steps in Gene Simmons. That didn't make sense either. Gene Simmons steps in. I do believe I have some form of slight dyslexia. He steps in
after the scene where they go to the house and one of those robot nannies has gone on a killing rampage. Right. Now, for the robot nannies are a box about maybe 3 foot high, and some of them have a little claw. Now, the robot, when they go to the scene, they've been told that two or three people, three I think, have been slashed or stabbed to death with a knife, and that there's a newborn still in the house. Nobody's just rushed in the house to save the baby because there's a 3 foot tall robot with a knife in there. Who wants to risk that? So they.
This future is stupid.
Well, they show a picture of it or a fake picture of it on like a schematic on the screen, and it has a one arm that comes out, and it's the same claw as the banana slug. Apparently, all the robots only have the same kind of hand, which is the 2-finger, 1-thumb pincer thing. Right?
Yeah.
So somehow this thing grabbed a knife with this and managed to chase down and kill 3 people with it. Then when Tom Selleck sneaks into the house, they find out, or before they sneaks in, they hear a gunshot and they realize the robot has a gun. The robot has somehow managed to pick up a pistol with these 3 metal, non-moving digits and has figured out how to pull the trigger. And has figured out how to pull the trigger so well that when Tom Selleck goes in, he manages not only to fire a handgun, but to make it sound like a shotgun and fire 8 shots.
Right. Well, that's
a revolver.
That's 80s filmmaking. All guns sounded like shotguns in the 80s. They just did.
No, not even the explosion. You heard the ch before the explosion. It wasn't this boom. It's loud. It's ch. Oh, I pulled back the slide.
This is true.
I heard him pull back the slide on the revolver. I think he's about to fire. What? Now, the best part of that scene is that it's a cop movie, so of course you have the evil media, and the cameraman sneaks in behind Tom Selleck. There's like 80 cops outside, but no one stops the camera guy. He just sneaks in.
Yeah.
And of course the cameraman dies. Shot dead.
That scene is actually on now. That exact scene. He's just Tom Selleck's on the ground, just kind of like, yep, there's a dead cameraman.
And I wish this film was made by somebody with a darker sense of humor, because when Selleck came out, he should have said something to the reporter such as, by the way, I killed your photographer, what have you. But after that, every time they went to a different location, a cameraman should have died.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Well, later on, there's a whole thing where when they try to catch Gene Simmons, I'm skipping around a little bit, but because of the reporter thing, and his partner, the female cop with the skirt, because why would you have a female cop on the beat wear pants? That's just crazy. She gets shot with one of these exploding bullets and it doesn't go off, so they have her quarantined in this hotel room, and they're sending him in, and he goes in and says, "What's this?" Says, "Oh, it's the media. We have the cameras set up to record this." Right there, you should have been sending one of your goddamn reporters. Bring in the guy with the camera. I want to see if we can take another one out. Get nice and close here, Bob.
Right. And that was also the scene where they were able to get their one fuck in for the movie. And it was one of those where people watching it, reviewing it, or not reviewing it, giving its MPAA rating. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll let them have that one. PG. Mm-hmm. I want them the fuck out of here. It's like, ooh, he's angry. Okay, it's an important fuck. We need to leave that one in. You only get one of those.
Right.
But you know what, too? It's like in that scene, apparently the robot has a light on it so you can see it coming everywhere.
Well, of course.
This is so dumb. It's not even 3 feet tall. I'd say it's about 1.5 feet to 2 feet top max. It's a fucking Roomba with an arm. That's what it is.
Well, before he goes in, the reporters ask him, "We want to link up to your feed." He's like, "No, you can't do that. The robot will sense it it can scan the airwaves and can understand video images apparently." Then the police send in this hover camera.
Right.
It looks like a frisbee and hover technology, and it hovers in and film stuff. And that's when the robot shoots it. They find it has a gun. How come the media doesn't have it? They got Bob carrying the camera who gets shot in the face when he sneaks in. How come the media doesn't have these hover things they can send in?
Yeah, I don't know.
Michael Crichton was a fucking hack.
Oh, yeah.
A huge hack.
He's lucky Steven Spielberg existed.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's interesting that was he an author first before they decided, yes, hey, we need to give you a camera and a crew.
It was one of those deals. It's like Stephen King or any other really popular author. They become such a hot property that when they sell them when they sell their rights to Hollywood, the next thing you know is well, you know what? I want to be a screenwriter on this one, and then it's I want to direct, and it rarely goes well. For everybody out there who is a fan,
they did that with William Peter Blatty too for a few flicks, although his movies were actually good. I mean, Ninth Configuration, Exorcist 3, of all films, how does that end up being a good movie?
Exorcist 3 would have been a better movie if Carpenter. What?
Oh, yeah, no, it did kind of have that Carpenter-esque feel to it.
Carpenter was supposed to direct it, from what I've read. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he backed out when he heard that Blatty wanted to direct.
All right, I guess out of respect, maybe.
I guess, yes.
Or maybe he just said, "Nah, forget it."
Maybe Blatty was just creepy enough where he didn't want to piss him off. I don't know.
And there's a scene where they're at the house right now, and this robot is just running around, the nanny robot, and it just looks like a network printer just rolling around in their house.
It is. I love the part when they're at the one location and the security guard asks them, "We got a runaway upstairs. You want to help us?" And it's this little turret that's shocking.
Kirstie
Allen. Yeah, Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley. Pre Jenny Craig. Kirstie Alley.
It's pre-Cheers.
Yeah, that too.
Pre-everything.
And I've got problems with Kirstie Alley. Fuck her. And this little thing's running around. Whatever, fucking Kirstie,
like thirsty.
Don't give a shit. And this, like exactly what you said, a server-looking thing is running around, shocking her, and then Selleck goes in, and again, no cutoff of any kind. They have a verbal turn-off. Says, "Yeah, don't you have a fucking switch somewhere or a button you can push that just stops the power to this thing? Wouldn't that be smart since this thing has like a taser gun on it?"
Right.
But at one point, the security guy, and again, you have to blame Crichton for this because he's the one fucking writing it. So he says, "I think I know what happened. These old blah 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 models, when they get too hot, the chips just pop right off the circuit board. It's a common defect in these models." It's like, right, which is exactly why you have hundreds of them running around this big major corporation. Yeah, that's what might happen. These things are totally obsolete and inefficient. That must be why it's happening. Then.
Sure. Like for instance, when she does get shot and they were going to send in one of those robots to pull it out, it was just one of these medic robots, and it was just going to go in and do it for her. He's like, "No, it's going to mess up. It's going to kill her." It's like, well, wait a minute. It's a year old. It's a year old. Right. He goes, "It's a year old. And when we got it, it didn't work then." It's like, wait a minute. It didn't work when it was brand new?
You know what?
Is that what you're telling me?
That's the most realistic part of this movie. I can right there. Any technology, it's a year old, it's obsolete. When it came out, it didn't fucking work. That's like every piece of technology I've ever owned. So that part stands up to test of time. They don't even have like taser guns or anything. They're on like robot patrol. Shouldn't they have like a taser gun that they can shoot that would like overload the circuits of a robot? This movie demands a reboot. Michael Bay should be making Runaway, the remake. Hands down. Are you fucking kidding me? That would be awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean the late 70s, early to mid 80s, they just made it up as they went along with anything computer, technology, robotic. They just made it up as they went along. Like perfect example. I was watching Superman 3 like a month ago, and Richard Pryor. What? Junkyard scene is one of the best scenes in any Superman film anywhere, even the new Man of Steel. I defy you to not enjoy that junkyard scene.
Still my favorite scene, too.
Well, anyway, Richard Pryor, he's sitting at a computer, and he's just typing away, but he's like taking money out of like a bank account, and he's just typing things like, and I'm paraphrasing here, remove money, $10,000 into account. Whatever, and it does it. I'm like, that's not how any of that works. Mm-hmm. Because nobody knew computers 30 years ago. Well, the people that did weren't writing movies.
That's like
Tron.
Right there.
Tron. Yeah,
sure. I was in Home Depot last week, and they had a display for this thermostat lighting system, and it's beyond that. It's like this one unit can control your entire home. Lights, heating, electronics, and I'm thinking, did Electric Dreams not teach us anything? You can't give the computers that kind of power. That's right, Electric Dreams.
Wow, you just made an Electric Dreams reference.
Dude, I remember that movie like I could recite half of that film right now.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
Me neither, but at the time it was on HBO like every night. So
if I had any foresight, I would have. That would be your movie challenge. It's not. I'm thinking about changing it to that though. I do like my challenge to you though.
Okay.
I do like it.
Now we haven't even gotten to...
I think it's a film we need to review. We've talked about it on the show, and we've talked about watching it together, but we've never actually reviewed it.
Now we've gotten sidetracked, and we haven't even gotten to the main villain of Runaway.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is
Gene Simmons, or Luther, Mr. Luthor. He is basically he's evil genius, electrical engineer, all of that, and he's inventing all these, especially, I guess the little robots that he invents are the face hugger of the digital robotic age.
No, I gotta stop you.
As dangerous.
I gotta stop you because I don't think he actually invents most of the stuff. I think he just deals in it. Because don't forget that the people that he kills at the first part of the film, he forces them to create these microchips for him, and then he takes them and kills them and doesn't pay them, which all good bad guys do. Right. So I honestly don't. I think he's like an arms dealer. I don't think he actually invented these things.
Well, he does. I mean, he did say at one point, I programmed, and he said, my little friends, I made my little friends, and they're going to get you. I just assumed that he invented them.
Well, I guarantee. The way they had it set up, I would think that he has the knowledge to make them and reprogram and what have you. But when it comes to the inventing part, those are the people that he kills after he gets their technology.
Okay.
Like an arms dealer could take apart and put together a gun, but they didn't invent it. That's all I'm getting at.
Well, if he did invent it, he's a shitty inventor because they move about 0.01 miles per hour. First of all, they walk like shit. It's like you ever have an erector set when you were a kid and you made like little robots and things with wheels on them? That's what this shit was. That's exactly what this was.
They're they're little boxes with little like 8 legs, and they're supposed to walk, but they don't really, legs don't move enough for that. They would look great CGI'd in a Michael Bay film. I'll tell you right the fucking now. They would but they're weird because they're robots, and when you see them on screen, they make noise. But when they're sneaking around in the scene, you don't hear them at all. So when they're in the bathroom on the tiles, you don't hear that. And you don't hear them when they're climbing up the wall and onto ceilings, which there's nothing on these robots that would imply that they can do that.
It's true. Yeah.
And then they inject acid into you so they have to get up to your neck, and there's no way they could leap.
No. If they had wheels and they had legs that were spring loaded, I would have bought that more. Instead of these like like legs that kind of did that.
Yeah, and I have to go back to point out that when you said in the 80s, all these films that didn't know anything about computers, they were making it up as they went along. That's true, but most of those films weren't written by Michael Crichton, who's supposed to be the science fiction visionary who's really has his fingers on the pulse of technology and what's possible in medicine and science. So that's why this film sucks even worse, because it's not like just, let's write a movie about people going inside a computer. All right. It's the guy that's supposed to know what it'd be like if you could get inside a computer.
I mean, Dreamscape was more realistic.
Yeah. I wish Michael Crichton had written Tron.
Oh, wow.
That would have been interesting.
He wouldn't have had the hindsight to say, let's use blacklight. and let's get special outfits and use blacklight.
No one's going to have black lights in the future. What are you, crazy?
No, it's a dead technology.
Now, Gene Simmons is horrible in this film, by the way. He's not a good bad guy.
Terrible.
He's better in Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yes, he is. That came out in 80. I want to say that came out in 87.
A couple years later, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-3 years later after this film.
Now, I want to use Gene Simmons for a moment to explain why I hate the Internet Movie Database. They let anybody put trivia and stuff up, and I guess they have a really sloppy approval process. Because whenever I watch these films for us, I tend to do searches online, and
Right.
one of the easiest things to do is just take a peek at IMDb and go through the trivia list. On the trivia list for IMDb for Runaway, 1984. Singer-actor Gene Simmons starred in this movie without his Kiss makeup.
What? Obviously.
Well, that's the point.
Didn't they take the makeup off years later too?
Well, he took the makeup off whenever he wasn't performing for Kiss.
Well, yeah, but because
this would be one of those opportunities.
Yes, but the thing is, a lot of the times people didn't see them unless they were in their makeup. They would always, and all through the the 70s and whatnot, I think they took their makeup off for the very first time ever in the late 70s or early 80s. So it's like he'd been out of the makeup for years, is what I'm getting at. Where it's like that trivia, that statement is so irrelevant.
Well, it's also relevant because the film is starring Gene Simmons, not starring the tongue guy from Kiss.
Or the demon. I think he was always referred to as the demon from
Okay,
Kiss. Yes.
That could be the Mexican wrestler. I wouldn't want to confuse anybody. Yes, so he's this robotics trader, and he's got all these microchips that allow you to override the programming in these robots to allow them to hurt humans, violate the Asimov rules, which they never mentioned in the film, probably for obvious reasons. And why does he need the microchips to override the programming in these robots when apparently the robots are just flipping out all over the fucking town or city? Because they need a whole police division to track down robots that aren't acting the way they're supposed to because they broke their programming, because when they get hot, the chips just pop off the panel, or there's no human operating them, or for some reason they're using robots to pick banana slugs, and all of a sudden one just isn't doing it right. So call the cops.
If you were a good enough programmer, you wouldn't need chips at all. You just pre-program them to be crazy. Why do you need a special chip for that?
Because it overrides their programming.
Get a programmer.
But then the programmer needs a chip.
No, you don't. He can reprogram the existing chips.
My favorite trivia on IMDb, speaking of chips, is in the Goops section, which is surprisingly small, and the first item in there is the revolver. But the last one here, I love this one. When the domestic robot is examined and the officer states, that would be Tom Selleck, It's like, I think it was Tom Selleck. We've got a non-standard chip here. He's pointing to a chip marked CD4011.
Oh, no, that's actually the black guy from...
The black guy, right.
Yeah, but he was in Monster Squad. He played another cop.
Oh. Yeah, he's the one that dies in Monster Squad, isn't he?
Yeah. He was the one where he was at the museum and the mummy comes to life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's the only guy that dies in that movie is the black guy, isn't it?
And the Wolfman. But that's it.
Yeah, well, that's not a guy. That's the monster.
That is true. But
anyway, when he says we've got a non-standard chip here, he points to a Texas Instruments CD4011 microchip, which is one of the most basic and common of all digital chips and not at all sophisticated, as it's also put. That underlines the entire problem with the 80s in general with these computer films. It's right there. That's an unusual chip. No, sir. That is the most usual chip you could possibly find. And does anybody on set know? No. Why? Because no one on set knows jack shit about computers.
Right. And 30 years later, looking back, it just... I could see... Well, actually, not 30 years later. I would say on the set, Crichton, assistant director, whoever, they're like, yeah, nobody knows anything about this. No one's ever going to figure this shit out. They never... When they're making movies like this, they never envisioned that your home computer would ever be anything but an expensive toy that you used once in a while. They never thought that there would be something like the internet where you could shop online, where you can find out information, where just even building your own computer would even existed unless you were some sort of senior programmer at IBM. Mm-hmm. You don't really need to know anything about computers to put one together, other than just make sure that you're not statically charged and you won't destroy any of your shit. But
yeah, I didn't see any static guards anywhere in that office for
you would
computer
think,
garage. No, and apparently when you have a computer room for like the Runaway robot squad, the whole point is to have as many monitors lying around as possible.
Yeah. I like watching movies like this because you can always, and it's something we've talked about before, where whenever you watch a futuristic film, that face, you would always spot futuristic gun, futuristic car, futuristic tablet. Did you see their tablet type thing? Where it had actual live video of Gene Simmons' head where it's like moving. But it wasn't supposed to be a video. It was actually supposed to give... I think what they were trying to do was that it was a digital representation, but it was so lifelike because it's the future.
Right, which is why if you watch it carefully, you can see him blink.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that. He blinks for a second. It's like, okay, I get it.
Well, we all blink for a second. Otherwise, it'd be closing your eyes.
Right. But she was holding basically it was a television that they somehow got and I guess for the time it was tiny. They must have spent a fucking mint just to make that thing, just for that scene, because. Well,
I think that's a great thing about all of these, and especially when it's written somebody like Michael Crichton, who's supposed to know better. The great thing about all these like 80s films is because technology was so new and advancing so, I guess, I would like to use the term bizarrely, because right. I really don't think anybody knew what they were doing with computers for like the first 20 years. It was just, oh shit, we can make this stuff do stuff. And it was just a desperate attempt to try, just look at the video games like over that, like in that time period from like the 70s, 80s. I just insanely, like, just stupid. Like, you look at it now and says, why the fuck would you think this would be entertaining? How do you, it's like, well, who cares if it's entertaining? We can do it. We can make this picture move here and put text under it. That's not entertaining. So it's this weird idea where they knew that technology was capable of so much, but they couldn't envision, or they couldn't envision exactly what form it would take. So that's why you have this future in this Runaway film where robots are advanced and they're doing everything for us, but they look like boxes. And we have little hovercraft cameras that the cops use to go into a dangerous situation, and we can take video off of it. But the media still has the huge camera on the guy's shoulder.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we have cars that can drive themselves. But
oh yeah, and I love it that it actually has a fake person at the driver's at the wheel, and it's like, is that even necessary?
I agree. I think that is necessary because that I saw it. I actually let rationality take over, and I was like, oh well, if you're going to make a driverless car, you need to have a fake driver in there so you don't freak people out on the highway.
Right.
Because if you saw a car coming at you on the road and there was no driver in it, you wouldn't think to yourself, oh, that's a driverless car. No, you freak out and fucking swerve. so you need to have a fake driver in that car. So by the time you realize that was just a puppet, that wasn't a real guy, the car's already past you, you're not going to do any damage to anybody.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
One of the scenes in the film that I want to point out, and it was something that I wanted to remind myself to talk about, and it's small. It really has almost nothing to do with the plot. But after Tom Selleck pulls that little the chip out of her arm, the explosive chip, and
bullet.
Okay, bullet. I thought it was a chip of whatever. Anyway, no, he asked her if he can, how about dinner tonight? And she seems all excited, and she's like, oh, I'll go home and change. And he's like, no, you're fine just like that. And she's like, no, I'll change. He goes, no, we're going to go to my place. And she's like, oh, your place. And he's like, yeah, my place. I always take all my new partners, to dinner. Just because you're a woman, that shouldn't be any different. And she's like, oh, okay, never mind. It's like, wait, you're telling me that because he's not going to fuck her, he's not going to just take her back to his place, shove some pasta down her throat, and then fuck her. She's disappointed now. And I was just like, I watched that scene and I'm like, she's just genuinely disappointed Tom Selleck isn't just going to take her back to his place after knowing her that day and fuck her that night.
Don't you
I
think
just wanted to point that out.
Don't you think anybody that Tom Selleck invites to dinner would feel that way?
With Magnum PI, he wants to interrogate you. You're going to say yes, I guess.
This is post Magnum PI, right?
This is, you know what? I want to say yes. And I think the reason I want to say yes is he started making more films after he was done with Magnum PI. I want to say that. Although I could be wrong.
I could be wrong too. I'm not a Magnum PI file, whatever that is. I kind of see where you're coming at with this scene. I mean, I just felt the way. I just
wanted to bring it up. I don't want to really break it down or anything. I just wanted to bring it up. I just thought it was it's like Crichton writes like that. Like in Looker. You got fucking what's his face? He's
Albert Finney.
Albert Finney, yeah. And he's just like, he's what, 50 in his 50s, and he's getting the girl. It's like, come on.
And not an attractive man. not an attractive man. Definitely not the kind of leading male actor you want to see in a sex scene.
One of my all-time favorite lines from you ever doing the podcast is when when we reviewed Looker, and you were talking about him being all cat-like at the end, rolling around. One of my all-time favorite. It's like, yeah, Albert Finney, not very cat-like.
It's like doing the crouch thing. No, Albert Finney should not crouch and sneak. No,
he's not very cat-like. Yeah, sorry, Albert. Right. He's still alive, isn't he?
Albert Finney, I believe so.
Oh, man.
I believe so. But Gene Simmons, better.
Side boobies.
That's right.
Yeah,
boobies.
Back in the 80s when that was completely allowed, and you don't have to get an R rating.
This is the hotel scene, right?
Yeah.
Side boob. This is where she gets shot with the rocket.
Yeah, well, it's side boob, then full frontal boob.
Oh, that's right. She comes out too. I saw Kim Cattrall's boobs recently.
What film? Wait, don't
Split
tell
Second?
me. Oh, I was going to try and guess.
No, you wouldn't have guessed. Split Second.
I was actually going to guess something else. What other film did you see her boobs in?
don't know. That's why I was surprised. I was like, I'm not sure if I've ever seen. I don't watch Sex in the City, so I don't think I've ever seen Kim Cattrall's boobs.
Did you see her boobs in Mannequin?
No, that's like a PG film.
Yeah, but it's one of those 80s PG films where you like this, where you get away with a boob shot for like a split second.
I'll be honest, and you won't. No one will believe me. I've never seen Mannequin all the way through. That was always a film, like when it came on cable, I've seen bits of it. I know the film. I can explain the plot and everything. But I've never like sat down and watched Mannequin or any of its sequels.
Anyway, so Gene Simmons is a bad guy who wants to sell these chips to the highest bidder of any kind. Mafia, terrorist, you name it. That's who he wants to sell them to. And
unlike the rest of the technology industry, that's very morality based and is very scrupulous.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like why is this guy meeting Mafia in the hotel rooms? Don't they have like a board meeting they can set up for this? Well, in the 80s, it was beyond comprehension that corporations would sell shit to people they shouldn't. Yeah, this is around the same time as Iran Contra, isn't it? Is that, am I wrong or?
Yeah.
Does this predate that? I mean, what the fuck? No. He's got to go under the radar because the corporate. How he should be the CEO of his own fucking company by the time this film comes out. Why? No, he's a sleazy guy who's like. And
I hadn't seen it in a long time, and when I was watching it, I swear to God, I thought that he was some sort of a CEO corporate guy, and then I watched him like, oh no, he's just a dick trying to sell shit. He's just evil, but he's dressed in like a 3-piece suit. The whole to the nines, and it's like, yeah, isn't he a CEO? No, he's not. You just assume that he is. But anyway, Kirstie Alley, she has what she has is the schematics, the diagrams to make more of these chips because Gene Simmons only has some of them, and what he really wants is, the schematic to make more. So that he can just continue selling them to anybody that's willing to pay for them. And there's this whole cat and mouse chase back and forth of him trying to get them, Kirstie Alley trying to be protected by Tom Selleck before she takes a shank in the back of the neck.
Yeah. Now, during that
and then
car
just
chase,
dumped in a pool.
Now they have the car chase with the auto driver. So one of the cars is automatically driven, and then they put the female cop in the other one because that's safe. I'm sure she was driving with a skirt on too, But before they do that, they run her through a series of bug detectors to make sure she doesn't have any bugs on her.
Right.
But Selleck, who's so keen on making sure she's not being tracked that he won't let a fellow police officer touch the patrol car they're pulling out on, didn't think to scan her purse. What could possibly be in the purse?
What's even more ridiculous is they put her through a whole full-body scanner.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry.
I know I didn't say full body, so thank you for clarifying that. They're making her strip, and they're finding like 500 fucking bugs on her.
All the way down to the fucking heel of her shoe.
Right, but they don't check the purse.
Right. Now, why bother?
And then during that scene, they release little rolling robots, like little exploding RC. Remote control, RC is remote control, blah blah blah. The little remote control cars on the highway to speed up, predicting the car chase in the Deadpool with Clint Eastwood years later. Except they use real race cars and not little silver boxes. They couldn't just be like remote control cars. They had to look futuristic, so they had to be little boxes, silver boxes, instead of like just a remote control car.
Now the scene where he's pulling the bullet out of her arm. If you cut all of the parts out of her, getting the side shots of her getting that pulled out of her arm, you'd swear she was being fucked.
If you just listen to the dialogue, just the audio, I'm gonna pull it out. That whole thing. All right, close your eyes and just imagine.
And then they just focus on her hand, like clenching, the arm of something, like a chair or something. Or the computer that he's using to get the chip out or the bullet out of her arm. And it's like, she's being fucked right now. She's loving it, too. That mustache is tickling her somewhere.
Try not to move. Is it hot in here? It's like, I'm going to pull out slowly. Yeah, no, the whole film is like, the whole scene is like this twisted medical sex scene.
And then there's an explosion at the end. And then he holds her closely.
My mustache will protect you.
It already has.
And
then this is the scene where he tries to take her to dinner, and she's like, "Wait, you're not fucking me?"
A lot of I just going back now watching these films, I just see so many faces I recognize. I was like, oh, that guy.
Yeah,
and
it's from Police Academy. What's his face?
Yeah, that was G.W. Bailey.
G.W. Bailey, right? Yeah, oh, he's being typecast as a cop again. Look at that.
Yeah.
The same year Police Academy comes out.
Da, 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 da.
Barbara, I can show a movie on your butt. I like Police Academy.
Did we cover everything? I feel like we left something out of our review of Runaway.
Well, I think the only thing that we might have covered or not talked about is just the end of the movie, where the final battle between Gene Simmons and Tom Selleck. But, I mean, what's to really talk about? You know it's going to happen. You know someone's going to die. And odds are it's going to be the bad guy. I mean, that's really all there is to it.
Since we opened the film with the fact that Tom Selleck's afraid of heights, we know the end battle is going to take place in a skyrise.
Exactly. I hadn't seen the movie for years, but he literally talks about how he's afraid of heights 5 minutes in, and I'm like, obviously that's going to play a part at some point in the movie.
Let's wrap up our review of Runaway. How about they should make a remake of it called Runway, where Tom Selleck is still a cop, but instead of tracking down runaway robots, he tracks down and kills rogue models.
What?
And you call it Runway.
Runway.
When they leave the runway, they call Tom Selleck.
Who am I kidding? I'd probably see that.
Are you fucking kidding me? And make sure Michael Bay makes that shit, because then those runway models will be fucking exploding.
And hot. He'll make sure of that.
Yes. Now, the IMDb rating on it is 5.8.
A little high.
A little high. Now, again,
I actually wouldn't go lower than 5. Actually,
you know what really freaked me out in this film? The one thing that's always been burned in my mind is at the end when Selleck's fighting these little spider things. One of them burns his face with acid.
Oh,
and
yeah, it's just black.
Black, it's burnt skin. It's blackened skin from acid burns, and out of that entire film, that's the one part that actually freaks me out. That's just like, oh, as a kid, that always bothered me, because it's like, yeah, that's the only part. It's like, oh, that's gotta fucking hurt. I mean, and you can even imagine it like cracking and with pus coming out in the next 5 hours. It's just,
skin grafts,
and he's got it on his face when he kisses her at the end
for 2 fucking minutes.
Yeah, and it's like,
there's a 2-minute makeout session during the credits.
And he's got blackened acid skin. That's going to crack if he keeps moving his mouth like that.
Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? It almost seemed like it was longer than 2 minutes. It was just them together in the middle of showering, just sparks.
I can answer that question, sir. Who thought that would look good? Michael fucking Crichton. That's who thought it would be good.
But what's hilarious about that scene is not only are they literally making out for 2 to 3 minutes during the rolling credits, but you could tell that Tom Selleck was actually smitten with Cynthia Rhodes, because he pokes at her nose 2 or 3 times. You don't do that. You don't do that unless you're really enjoying making out with this person, and that you really enjoy that person.
That's because Mr. Selleck is a consummate actor, and he knows what it looks like when you dig somebody.
I think he fucked her. I think he did take her to dinner that night.
Just given.
Just offset.
I'll put $10 on him fucking Gene Simmons. Are you kidding me?
Was he 4001 for Gene Simmons?
No, I didn't say Gene Simmons fucked Tom Selleck. I said Tom Selleck fucked Gene Simmons. There's a difference.
I guess
Now,
if you put it that way, there is a difference.
Yes, there is. For the ending, during that entire kiss sequence, they should have had like the little robots, like the little the little spider robots, like climbing up all over them, and then But anyway, so the film gets a star for Tom Selleck.
Of course, sure.
It gets a star
Easily.
for having the commandant, or not the commandant. What was he in the police academy? He wasn't the commandant.
He was just a lieutenant.
Lieutenant? Whatever. I don't know any of that shit.
I gotta look him up now. What you're making me do?
Now, I honestly think
Can't
that
sell G.W. Bailey short because I still like him.
Oh yeah, no, he's always been good. Gene Simmons is a negative in this film. It loses a star for that. Loses a star for. It loses 3 stars for the technology. Let's be fair.
Lieutenant Harris.
Lieutenant, you're right, Lieutenant. There you go.
Yep.
So as far as 5 stars go, we have 5.8. I can't give it anything over a 5 personally.
I wouldn't go lower than 5. So, are we in agreement on a 5?
Yeah.
I mean, it's average. I mean, it's terrible, but it's still.
No.
To say less than 5.
4.
Really, a 4?
4 for the supreme ludicrousness of the concept of an entire police division devoted to running down stray robots. Now, when the robots are replicants that are running around killing people and squeezing eyeballs out like Blade Runner, yeah, you might want to have a division for that. Yeah, I think we should hire somebody to do that. When they're little tree slug grabbers and the occasional reprogrammed nanny bot with a shotgun pistol. No, I don't think we need a whole division. I don't think we need just Mustache Guy and some chick in a skirt. I think we can do this with just, I don't know, the Geek Squad should be handling this at this point. Best Buy should be sending their guys out, not the fucking cops.
True.
Even RoboCop, there's just one.
This is true.
This is true. We need and for the ludicrous nature of the robots in this film, I can't give it more than a 4. I can't give it a 5. It has to be a 4, just for that alone. I don't think there's enough redeeming value in the film, even with Tom Selleck, to make up for the complete. I have less animosity towards Tron, because at least Tron was just like, yeah, fuck it, it's for kids. All right, yeah, you run around and it's Dayglow inside computers. This is a different story. We got dead people. We got nudity. This is a film made for adults.
All right, 4 it is then.
Thank you. I was ready to stand my ground on that one. 4 it is.
This is right up the middle. 5, 6, and 7s with their users.
Yeah, not a cult film. Not a cult
7s.
film.
There are 7s.
There are 10s.
Well, 278 of those. Most. The highest number of votes is a 6.
And a film like this, all the 10 votes are people that see it and go, "Oh, I love this as a kid." And click 10.
Right, without even rewatching it.
Without revisiting the film and realizing I was a stupid child. So yeah, 4. Yeah, we're good.
Let's go ahead and end the show then. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so this is episode 128 of Moviesucktastic. Thank you, and please go to our iTunes page and download all of our shows, listen to all of our shows, review all of our shows. You can also go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. Oh man, look at that. The eye! Keep it away! Yes. Nice view. And you can go to our website and you can listen to our shows there. You can download them there. And you can certainly also, and most positively, leave us email there as well at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic, and you can see all of the things that we're posting there, talking about, like the new Godzilla trailer. We just posted that the other day. Very interesting. Here they're doing it old school, which is why it's taking place in Japan. Tokyo. You can also go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. And you can also do a search for us on the web. Just do a search for Moviesucktastic, and we are everywhere. All right, everybody. I think that's going to wrap it up. Scott, you got any wisdom for us, or are we just going to get the hell out of here?
You're good, Ramsey, but not that good.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.